Good morning. This is Jim Whitehead of All Power Group and Phoenix Animal. And thank you for being here. And my Phoenix Animal is my favorite channel. Yes, I have a coffee channel that I'm not really doing much with right now. But bottom line, today, this is kind of another presentation that's linked to one I just did 2 days ago. And I'll explain that. And I also will have a QR code at the very end of this presentation so that you can take a look at it if you don't mind. That'd be great. Anyway, you're seeing the founder, and God bless every founder, a person who puts together and without, how would you say, bad motives, profit motives, it's just a positive animal motive. Those are the best kind. Because you're, helping our wonderful friends and animals, and we all recognize how cool, wonderful it is for someone to devote their life taking care of animals. My job is easy because I just talk about it. Although my wife and I are talking about down the road when we lose our wonderful little Jamie, that we will probably find that we would like to be involved with a rescue center. Although I know me, I'd go in, I'd say, I want to take them all home, but you have to sometimes make sure you're balanced. Now, this nice lady started, and we'll get into the whole process of how wonderful they are taking care of chimps. Save the Chimps Sanctuary is a non-profit chimpanzee sanctuary in the United States dedicated to rescuing and caring for chimpanzees that have suffered in laboratories, private ownership, entertainment settings, and other exploitative environments. It's one of the largest chimpanzee sanctuaries in the world and provides lifetime care, dignity, and a safe, natural style home for the chimps in its care. Okay, now what you're looking at now, that is, and this is basically my presentation from 2 days ago. You're seeing Tonka. Now, not to say the whole story with Tonka, but Tonka had, and we describe it as an okay life in the sense of being an actor, getting into a point where, unfortunately, Tonka got too big and could no longer, or was not requested to be in movies and presentations. So Tonka, and you'll see in that presentation that Tonka went into a very dark, not by her design, his design, by other people's treatment of an animal that is not going to generate money for them. As you can expect, I think that is a terrible action, and certainly we don't want to have it where they go, well, hey, I got to make some money. I'm going to take advantage of an animal. No, it's not acceptable. But what was neat is, and I kind of did this two different ways, or I do it these two different ways. I sometimes do the facility, and if there's something to highlight, I do another presentation. But this one, in this case, I started out going through my presentation of Tonka, which luckily Tonka, who was in a court action, the owner said, well, Tonka had died, and Tonka had not died. He was in a cage with no light or very little light, no activity, and I'm not even sure why somebody would do this. But luckily, Tonka was found and was brought to save the chimps, save the chimp sanctuary. So again, try to, if you can, take a look at that. It would be appreciated. Now here you see the facility, and you're going to see a map in just a little bit that really makes it where these sanctuaries are beautiful. It's not land that no one else wants. You know what I mean? It's not in the middle of a city. Now, this particular sanctuary, and I said 2 days ago that when I said I was going to be, doing this presentation today, I thought it was in Fort Myers. Now, I'm in Naples now, and we're a little south of Fort Myers. So I thought, hey, I'm going to be able to actually go to this facility. Although, and you'll see, they don't just say, well, visiting hours. No, they're very protective to ensure that it's not financially motivated. But anyway, it turned out to be that this facility is in Fort Pierce. Fort Myers, Fort Pierce are not close, but that's on the other side of the state. I used to be in what we call Broward County, and Fort Pierce is north of there, quite a distance too. So unfortunately, my plans are a little bit different. Now, the mission and the purpose of this facility provide sanctuary and exemplary care to chimpanzees in need, offering a lifelong home rather than temporary shelter. Chimps are rescued from research. Shame on that, and you'll see why it's not fair to take mice, whatever type of animal, and have it where you're doing experimentation on them. That's going to be a benefit in general, or the attempt is so that humans benefit. I am totally against that. You should not be testing anything on any animal. Now, why it's done? The DNA of a chimp is extremely close to humans. So, taking away the bad of what they're doing, it's saying, well, we're getting, in this case, a chimp that is very close to, our human DNA. So what would happen with what they're testing should happen the same way on humans. Totally unacceptable. And you'll see what really brought quite a few people, I think they're people, but chimps to this facility. The pet trade, the entertainment industry, and other harmful situations, those are just, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. they're as good as we are, or in a lot of cases, in my opinion, they're better. Now, what you're looking at now, the neat thing about this is it's on, I think, 115 acres. I'll be telling you in a minute. But as you can see, it segments the facility into what they call moats. And it's where, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 moats. And each of the chimps, I guess, can decide where they want to be. Or they can say, I want to go over to number 2 instead of being on 1. It's just such wonderful freedom. And they have a Lake Harmony. They have a boat dock. They have an education center, a vet clinic, and the caregivers live there. As you can see down in the lower right, there's a caregiver housing building. Anyway, that is cool. Anyway, the chimpanzees are individuals with emotions and social needs, and this facility works to give them the freedom and care they deserve. Now, the located, I'm sorry, I was wrong on the amount of acreage. It's 150 acres, and it's near Fort Pierce. So I'm not going to be getting up there too quickly. Chimps live in large social communities on naturalistic 3-acre island habitats. Water moats act as natural barriers instead of cages, allowing more space and freedom. I think that is so cool. Now, there's another wonderful picture, and the founder is Dr. Carol C. Noon. And my hat is off to Dr. Noon, of what she's doing and has continued to do for these chimps. And they're almost human. I mean, again, I think they're actually probably smarter or as smart, but I'm not sure on that. But, the point is, we go to school. I went to elementary school for 6 years, went to junior high school for 3 years, went to high school for 3 years, went to college for 4 years, went back to school for respiratory therapy for 3 more years. So, if you say, well, Jim, you must be smart. Well, no, not really. You're smarter than a chimp. Well, because I've been in school a lot, and they, God bless them. I wouldn't even want to put them through it where they're going to be, they've got to be in school for the first 16 years of their life. Hell no. Hell no, hell no, hell no. Anyway. The sanctuary is not generally open to the public, which is right there. You see, there isn't a profit motive, although there's cost to this. So I wouldn't feel bad that, they might have some limited visitation. But Dr. Noon's, she's saying no. Now, what they do, it has it where supporters, and this is interesting, may be involved through special events. Now, this is interesting, and I would do it if, unfortunately, when I found out it wasn't in Fort Myers, I would probably do the next thing I'm going to say. That's symbolic adoptions. You're not adopting them. You're not going to go and say, well, we're going to go pick up Tonka. No, you're not. But you can help take care of any of the chimps that you might say, hey, that's my buddy right there, and I'm gonna supply a little bit of money so that they have what they need. And I think that's unbelievable. And of course, they take donations, which, when they have all of what they have in this facility, it's not cheap. It's a 501c, which you'll see, which means you're not taxed like you would normally be. So you would say some of the costs are reduced a little bit because, with 150 acres, if you had to pay, and I don't even know how you would consider this is developed land. It's not undeveloped land. It's got buildings on it, and they made those moats and what have you. So the point of being 501c, and a lot of these facilities are, because again, they should not have it where they're hit with a lot of money requirements from the city or town that they're involved with. A little history. Founded in 1997 by Dr. Carol C. Noon after she fought to rescue chimpanzees retired from the U.S. Air Force contracts. Now, here we go. Exploitation. I'm not picking on the Air Force, but they were using chimps for certain things. In a landmark rescue, the sanctuary acquired, and you're going to see, 266 chimpanzees from the Colston Foundation, a major research facility with multiple welfare violations. So here we go. The Colston Foundation was designed to bring in, in this case, chimps, and either sell them out, rent them out to those that would utilize them for things that really is not fair, to a chimp, any other animal, or even human beings. So, if human beings decide to get involved in a study related to, let's say, a new drug, no one forces them to do it. And they're quite oftenly compensated for doing that. And usually it should only, in my opinion, if, health-wise, if there was some type of testing for something that would make, if I was sick with something that, it could, in the long run, by testing, have it where it benefits, in this case, if I was doing it, me. That's freedom of choice. You can do it or you don't have to do it. Anyway, this Colston Foundation made it the largest rescue because of all the 266 chimpanzees that were here. And again, it was very clear that this Colston Foundation was not doing what they should be doing. This foundation was once a major U.S. chimpanzee research lab that fell into disrepute because of animal welfare issues and financial collapse. Its closure and rescue of chimpanzees by sanctuaries like Save the Chimps marked a major shift toward ethical lifelong care for chimpanzees retired from biomedical research. Anyway, there you see Dr. Noon sent a truck to this, foundation and picked up 266 chimps that had been used for various experimental testing, which is wrong, and wrong. But luckily, they're going to the right place. Now, talking about Tonka was at this facility, But for some reason, they didn't let Tonka go, and they hid Tonka. And luckily, people worked on finding where Tonka was and rescued Tonka, and also brought Tonka to save the Chimps Sanctuary. So that's how they both link, and that's why the presentation I did a couple of days ago talks all about Tonka. And you'll be surprised how smart these chimps are by what Tonka was able to do when he was brought to the sanctuary, and life began anew and a much happier set of circumstances. Life at the sanctuary. Chimps at Save the Chimps receive 24/7 veterinary care and monitoring. I mean, this is, by the way, this is real. And what I'm saying is true, that they make sure these chimps are as healthy as they can be. And all of this costs money. So, I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. They need nutritious meals and enrichment to encourage natural behaviors. Now, does that look like good food or what? I told them, I say, hey guys, we're taking, smile for the camera, and look like you're enjoying. Now, I'm only kidding. You can see this is like a communal lunch, and look at the great food. And certainly this isn't anything left over or, well, we'll just give it to, no. This is all good food that is going to make them as healthy, along with the medical facility, as healthy as they can be. I mean, I'm always amazed at, these presentations of the content, because, I think, oh, well, maybe I'm not going to find something as good or better, or good, better, best. But what I've found is every time I do it's time to do another presentation, I find either something uniquely different that is great, or something that is better than better. It just, thank goodness, my employment is, how would you say, guaranteed? Okay. These groups, they work, it reflects chimp society. They're given the freedom to act how they want to and be with other chimps. So, the sanctuary cares for over 200 chimpanzees and has assisted more than 330 chimps since it opened. And one of them, again, was Tonka. So they keep, unfortunately, their population goes up and down. Some of it, I hate to say, when, it's like with any adult, we get to an age and we maybe not going to live as long as we want to. And that's probably the same with the chimps. They have a life expectancy, but them being brought from a very bad situation, an unhealthy situation, a dangerous situation, to a facility that will give them the best life that they can have for the rest of their life. This isn't like they just come and they're rehabilitated and then they move to somewhere else. No, they live here, they stay here, and they die here. And they will have the best life possible. And even when, unfortunately, they get too old, they can't manage, there will be the best care that they can have and making the right decisions to make sure that they don't suffer. So, now, related to support and involvement, Save the Chimps is a 501c nonprofit and relies on donations, volunteers, and sponsorships to support lifelong care residents. Supporters can symbolically adopt chimps, as I said earlier, donate items like food and supplies, or join given circles that help fund enrichment and veterinarian programs. In popular culture, the sanctuary and some of its residents like an individual named Tonka. There you go. And you can see behind me, I'm going to get out of the picture. That's Tonka. After Tonka got too old to be an actor, and it was, for whatever reason, instead of sending him to, Save the Chimps, they hid him in this cage. Had no exercise, the food was minimal, and it just wasn't fair. But luckily, and you'll see it in the presentation if you can watch the Tonka episode, that people, including PETA, I hope I'm saying that wrong, but that organization, along with a gentleman by the last name of Cummings, they said, I don't know how they felt it, but that Tonka had not died like they were told. So they basically found Tonka and said, oh my God, look what you're, in, and this is so unfair to Tonka. And so Tonka came to Save the Chimps and is a very famous, I'm trying to think of the right word, of where, again, Tonka was in quite a few movies. One of them was George of the Jungle, and you'll see that in the presentation I just finished a couple days ago. Now, they play sports. You might think I made this up. No, they play sports. And again, they look at them. They could play, they probably play better than I can. And they play together. They work together. And probably they don't beat each other up on anything. It's like, hey, we have fun. You hit, you don't hit. You hit a home run, wonderful, great. Try to do it again the other time, next time. But anyway, Tonka had been featured in documentaries in the media that highlight the plight of captive chimpanzees and the importance of proper sanctuary care. In essence, Save the Chimps is a compassionate refuge where former lab animals, entertainment chimps like Tonka, and those from pet trade can finally live in a setting that respects their nature and gives them lifelong care, safety, and community. Now, what you're seeing, and again, this is what I also have in the presentation. If you're able to look at my Tonka presentation, and again, as I said, there's a QR code you'll see in a minute that would hopefully take you to that presentation if you're able to watch it. And you're seeing Tonka here. Now, this is, let me back up. Tonka learned to paint. Now, admittedly, they might not have a masterpiece that's going to be in the Louvre, which is good because probably people steal famous pictures from the Louvre, as you know. But Tonka learned to paint. And, there's where you'd say, well, they can only do little lines, what you see on the right. I would fully expect over time that they would learn to paint even better than they could paint when they first started. And I know most people would go, why would you teach a chimp to paint. Well, if they're in a wonderful sanctuary that has where we want these chimps to enjoy life, learn new things, and, you know, in the positive sense, if somebody says, hey, I heard of a chimp that can paint pictures, and somebody said, well, where is it? Well, it's at Save the Chimps up in Fort Pierce. They'd be like, whoa, I kind of would like to be involved in that or sponsor one, and don't think I'm not thinking of it. So, anyway, I want to thank you for being here. It's been 30 minutes, so that's not too bad. Now, Tonka is right behind me. I know it says, Tonka says, get the heck out of the way, Jim. Show the people my wonderful person. Now, as you see on the right, that's a QR code to the video on Tonka. So if you get a chance, like, subscribe, and you'll see generally on all the presentations, you'll see down in the lower right-hand corner, there's a little YouTube icon, and that helps you, you know, subscribe and so on and so forth. And, you know, it's all appreciated. I just love doing these. Even if no one ever watched or subscribed or liked, I would still do these. Because we as humans owe it to the animal population to get the best care, the best understanding, the best life that they possibly can have. So thank you very, very much. And I wish you the very best. And I just honestly can't thank you enough. You make this all possible. And again, thank you very much. And I look forward to the next one with you. Thank you.